Hello, this is Mike Madden and you're listening to the Arts Show podcast. Here you will find interviews with artists, musicians, authors and anyone else in and around the arts. Some of the interviews are recorded direct from the Arts Show on Expat Radio, with one or two specials in between. This show features best-selling author Jacqui Rose, speaking about her latest novel Fatal, as well as her love of horses and Emmerdale. It was originally broadcast on Expat Radio on Monday the 28th of January 2019. Due to licensing restrictions, we are not allowed to play the music from the original broadcast. It's Monday night, so it's the Arts Show on Expat Radio, and tonight my first guest is another Avon author, Jacqui Rose. Good evening, Jacqui.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Cold, but well.
Are you expecting snow overnight?
Apparently, allegedly.
They never get it right. I wouldn't worry about it. It's 20 degrees tomorrow. Now, Jacqui, you're an Avon author, and you've just had your latest book published about 2.5 weeks ago, Fatal. So just tell our listeners a little bit about it.
Oh, goodness. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that because it's like 2 books ago. Now I have to remember what I wrote. It's a gangland thriller. And even though it's a standalone, it's also part of the bigger picture, part of the series, the old favourites, Alfie Jennings, Franny Doyle. But the main protagonist is a guy called Cabin Morton. And he works for an American crime family, the Russo family, who were just a hideous family and the worst people you could ever choose to work for. And he decides that he doesn't want to work for them anymore because he discovers he has a daughter called Alice Rose. But the only problem with that is that there's no way the Russos are going to let him walk away unless, he gives them something really special. And that's why, sort of based on an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a daughter for a daughter, because in the story something happens to the Russo's daughter, and as a revenge they decide they want to take Cabin Morton's daughter. They will go out of the way to kill her. So it's a cat and mouse game, and they start in America and it ends up in good old Essex with Cabin, Franny and Alfie and Alice eventually trying to get rid of the Russos on their tail. And it's a exciting adventure, but it's also layered with lots of emotion. There's the theme of grief in it as well, love and loss. And so hopefully it might be interesting to a wide variety of readers.
I think that's a great synopsis of it. And no spoilers. But you did mention that it was 2 books ago, and of course you've got more books coming out later this year. I know, is it Sinners is going to be your next one?
That's right. That's just been completed, which is the follow-on from Fatal. But again, it can be read alone. You don't have to have read all the others, but readers have said to me they enjoy going, oh, look, that was the character in a book 2 books ago, or they like the familiarity of it all. So Sinners out in June, and I'm just starting writing the next one. So, yeah, it's funny, even though it is out now, I wrote it quite a while ago.
And do you find it difficult to construct these series? Because obviously you've got to keep the continuity going from one book to the next.
Oh, I'm terrible. I'll have an Alfie with blue eyes in one and then brown eyes in another. But what Avon has, they have breakdown of all the characters. So if I do put the wrong color eyes, they'll go, no, actually he has this color eyes. And so, yeah, they have the continuity. They have like a Bible of it all, which is great. So I can just not worry about it and just write the story. But it is easier in one way because you do get to know the characters. So you know what they would do and what they wouldn't do and how they would react to certain situations. So that makes it a lot of fun as well.
And as I said earlier, you're an Avon author. You've been with Avon for quite some time, but you did have a couple of breaks from them. So I think out of all the Avon authors we've spoken to, you've probably been with them the longest since, was it 2012?
Goodness, has it
So
been that long?
I,
Yes.
I think I tracked a book back to 2012.
Yes.
Um, and you've obviously got a good relationship with them, but you did go to another HarperCollins imprint, HQ. How did that work?
Yeah, I mean, HarperCollins in general are just fabulous. They're really fantastic, and as you say, Avon are a fantastic imprint to do. But what it was is that I had fallen into writing, as it were, and I hadn't originally written Gangland. I had sort of a bit literary stuff and a bit quirky stuff. But then my agent said, "Why don't you try to write something gangland?" So I thought, not a problem. That's fun to do because I love people like Martina Cole, and I sat down and I wrote Taken, and I didn't ever expect publishers to actually like it, or anybody to like it, but straight away it was snapped up. So it all happened so quickly. And then I wrote the next one. I wrote Trapped, which was great. And then they gave me another contract for another 4 books. And then I thought, actually, maybe I'd like to try something new and do something new, not because I wasn't enjoying it, just because I just had grown as a writer. I wanted to experiment. And I was quite interested in political thrillers at that time. And I just wanted to challenge myself. It was a bit of a risk, but it was a fun risk to do. And HQ were fantastic. And they said, okay, we'll, sign you to a couple of books. And I wrote a couple of books, which were very hard work because there was a lot of research. But yeah, and then I decided I'd like to go back to the gangland. So yeah, they were really, really great and really supportive, both Avon and HQ.
And in the middle of all of this, you took a break to go to university, or to actually study a degree in counterterrorism and Islamic studies.
Yes.
And I guess that's the background to your geopolitical thrillers.
Exactly.
So where did you get your inspiration for the gangland theme?
The gangland thing was stories you hear. I was always fascinated with the 60s, the craze, the Manchester gangs, because I'm a northerner. So I used to hear a lot about the gangland and what they used to be in the good old 60s. And I also enjoyed writing Martina Cole. So the stories just developed in my head, and then articles I used to read in newspapers, and it just organically came from there, really.
And the other sort of book that you've been involved in is a collection of short stories called The Perfect Murder. How did that one come about?
Avon asked myself and Paul Finch, can't remember the other authors in it, to write a story. It could be anything, and they were going to compile it together, which was great fun to be in a book with all the different authors. And I wrote a horror story, actually, because again they said, do what you like, write what you like, and just have fun with it. So that was great. Just to, again, it was stretching, and branching out. I suppose it's like anything. It's good to try different things and experiment. Maybe not experiment too much, because obviously readers enjoy reading what's on the tin, really. But yeah, Avon are really great like that. So that was great fun.
And can you see? It's interesting. It was a horror story. I'm a big fan of horror myself, but can you see yourself moving down that genre a little bit further, maybe with a fully fledged novel?
I would love to, because James Herbert, Stephen King, I used to read shaking them under my covers when I was younger. Yeah, it's just about having time, because I write 2 books a year. And by the time you've edited them, done the structural line edits, copy edits, then it's nearly time to start writing the next one, because you've got to give yourself some headspace to try to crank it in is really quite difficult. So I'd have to do it on the side on my own rather than get it contracted, because I couldn't tell you when it would finish. I wouldn't be able to definitely say I can finish it in 3 months or 6 months. But yeah, I always like trying to writing different things. I find it a joy writing.
And of course, your writing career goes back. The first time you received anything for writing was probably in school when you were offered sherbet for writing essays.
You've done your research. Yes, it was one of the subjects that I found really easy, but really fun. And when I used to sit down to write a story, I used to get butterflies in my stomach with excitement. And I was really quite good at it, I think, when I was little, and write poems and stuff. So a lot of people just did not want to do their homework. So I could write, and I was greedy for sweets. So it was the perfect combination.
And you also, I have done some research, you're a big Emmerdale fan.
I love Emmerdale. Emmerdale, if there are anybody listening out there, please let me write an episode for Emmerdale. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
I used to dip in occasionally, but I think with all the soaps, they've all gone a bit, some of them got a bit dark, and I don't think Emmerdale's ever been the same since that plane crash.
You're going back a long time ago. Yeah, that was when the farm was still in it, wasn't there? Emmerdale Farm.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. Actually, there's some fantastic writing in all the soaps, I think, but especially Emmerdale. There's a lot of pathos in it. Like you say, there's a lot of darkness, but to be able to churn out, it's 5 days a week, that sort of quality, pretty good. And they did win the National Television Awards Best Series. So that, yeah.
They did, yeah, and when you've got the likes of Coronation Street and EastEnders in the same group, it's quite an achievement.
It is. I mean, years ago, Emmerdale never got anywhere, but now, oh yeah, keep on persevering, and then you'll get there in the end. Yeah.
Now, your artistic leanings have not been restricted to books. I know you've got a love of acting. And you taught drama and writing workshops for a variety of people, including prisoners, ex-offenders and the homeless. How did that all come about?
I used to do a lot of theatre when I left drama school, and I met somebody who worked in the community, and it was just fabulous, because even then, I was loving the idea of writing my own plays, developing radio plays. It didn't matter what it was, as long as I could write and incorporate my acting. And they said, why don't we start doing plays together and take it round schools, take it round prisons? They used to work a lot in prisons. And I found it so inspiring, because it was the first time a lot of the prisoners had a voice, which was fantastic, because some of the prisoners there, they were locked up 22, 23 hours, sort of a day, and, albeit they had committed a crime, when you looked at their background or they told you about their life, it was really sort of dysfunctional. And this way, having a voice, being able to write things down, being able to perform in, it was fantastic. And they were so proud of, what they'd written. They were so proud of acting it. And it was great. It's probably one of the best times in my life, seeing that, just the way they developed, the way they came out of themselves, the way they looked at themselves differently. It was fantastic.
It's a very noble thing to do as well, and well, it is, and it shouldn't be diminished in any way. But coming back to the present, you launched sort of 2.5 weeks ago. What was your launch day like?
Well, this launch day was quite quiet, actually. I went horse riding. I always go horse riding. I go horse riding every single day. I'm an avid fan of horses. I answered lots of lovely emails from my readers, which was really nice. Big celebration with friends and family. Always have to have that. And a new pair of silver riding boots. So, yes.
Silver riding boots.
Yes.
Well, I hope my wife's not listening to this broadcast, because she's a big horse rider as well.
Is she?
She has an array of boots, but no silver ones.
Oh, you've got to have a pair of silver boots in your closet.
Do you do the competitions with your horses?
Well, I've just gone bitless with my horses, so I'm trying to get back the control a bit. and once, and once I'm back the control, yes, definitely. I love jumping, dressage, too technical. I haven't got the patience, but jumping, love it. Yes, so
I,
I'm hoping in the summer.
I just find it staggering that you have to have a different outfit depending on what the discipline you're doing. Different
Well, of
jumpers for
course.
dressage, and that's crazy.
Of course.
So, so when you first started out on your professional writing career, most people went through the cycle of rejection after rejection, and they maybe got an agent, and then there was more rejections before a publisher finally took them on board. Did you experience the same, or was it a bit quicker for you?
It was really quick, and I think that's why it didn't quite feel real. Even when I saw my book on the bookshelves, I hadn't got time to sort of digest it because I sent my book off to my agent. She said, "Oh, we'll see what they think," and I thought they won't think anything of it. And then she got in contact with me and said, Avon would like to offer you a contract, and I took it for granted that that's what they did all the time, just offer anybody a contract to sort of send, because I couldn't believe how special it really was. And looking back, I thought, gosh, I missed that moment of huge celebration because I was thinking, surely they wouldn't offer it me. Surely they just offer it to anybody. But actually, that's, isn't quite true.
Well, we know from experience on this that most people have gone through months and months and even years of rejection before they even get a polite inquiry to say, can you send me another chapter? So, yeah, a remarkable achievement.
Yeah, thank you.
And I did notice that your book is also available in audiobook. So have you been involved in that, or have you even listened to the audiobook?
I love the audiobook. That's my favorite because I think maybe there's a disconnect that it doesn't feel so much like I wrote it, because when I read a book, one of my books, I'm looking at it and I'm looking for errors or looking for ways maybe I could have changed the sentence, so I don't enjoy the story afterwards. But when I listen to the audio, it doesn't feel like I wrote it, and I can just enjoy the story for what it is. Yeah, I have it in my car and I'm just like, wow, this is good. I'm enjoying this. So yeah, I do love an audio.
I have got very much into audio myself recently through some long car journeys, and it's a different experience. I don't think it's for everybody, but I also know that and they've not really listened to them and had no input. And then when they do finally get to listen to them, they think, well, I didn't think my character would sound like that.
Yeah, yes, HarperCollins are great actually. They send me usually 2 or 3 different people they think would be really good reading the book. So then I get to choose who I like. Yeah, and they usually go with it. So, but the people are fantastic. Everybody, Annie Adlington was the last person who did my book, and she was fantastic. It's great.
I'll certainly have to download one of your audiobooks and just have a listen. Now, before you go, we are running a bit out of time, but a couple of things before you go. First of all, when I was at school, I got 6 of the best, detention, or a blackboard duster thrown at me. But you had something a bit more unusual than that, didn't you?
Oh, gosh, did I? Oh, the snake, the snake. Oh, yes, when we were naughty, our deputy headmistress used to put a python round our neck. Yeah, and looking back, I think it just wouldn't happen now, but we used to have to go into a room and there was this huge snake. It was about 6 or 7 foot long, I'm sure it was, and it was massive, and you have to stand there and she just wrap it round your neck because you've been talking after lights out, or it was horrific. But yeah, that was our punishment. It's crazy.
I have never heard of anything like that before. But we are running out of time, and we obviously had some technical difficulties at the start. So what we spoke about this at the weekend. What we'd like to do is in maybe 3 or 4 weeks we'll get yourself on, but we'll also get our next guest on, Jim Raven, and we can do a show together. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic. Good old Jim, yeah.
So you've been an absolutely wonderful guest, Jacqui. For anybody who wants to find out any more about Jacqui Rose and her books, they're all available on Amazon, and you can also find out a bit more at the HarperCollins website. So thank you very much for coming on, Jacqui, and we'll hopefully see you speak to you in a few weeks' time.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
Great, and you can take your love of books away with you, and we're going to play out with Ollie Murs and Take Your Love. You've been listening to the Arts Show podcast with Mike Madden. Come back soon for more artists, authors, musicians and anyone else connected with the arts. We're going to play out with Mike Sanchez and I Don't Stand a Chance.
And baby, you hiding something that you don't want me to know. Because I'm getting a vibe from way down the side, like you're just about ready to go. And you can't tell me where you stayed last night. You just can't cope with treating me right. I'm on the road to heartbreak. Now's the time to tell me so. Because I'm getting a chill, like I'm gonna be ill. I know you don't want me no more. I won't be satisfied with your little white lies. Girl, I've only just begun to realize I don't stand a chance. I don't stand a chance. You don't wanna know when I can't make you dance. Well, I said goodbye. Find yourself another guy. I wish you were mine, but I'm losing my mind. I don't stand a chance. Now's the time to tell me so. Because I'm getting a chill, like I'm gonna be ill. I know you don't want me no more. I won't be satisfied with your little white lies. Girl, I've only just begun to realize I don't stand a chance. No, I don't stand a chance. You don't wanna know when I can't make you dance. Well, I'll say goodbye. Find yourself another guy. I wish you were mine, but I'm losing my mind. I don't stand a chance.